everyone? I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Wanted to give you guys a little bit of a recap of what happened this week because it was very, very chaotic. So we're gonna go over some general news, not too much, and then of course go over some stocks and stuff like that. Loki's over here. It's his birthday tomorrow. Yes sirree, yes sirree. But let's start off with what happened as far as news. Two big things. Inflation data came out this week and it was absolutely amazing. Everybody's very happy about that. That made me believe, and a lot of investors believe, we're probably not looking at any rate hikes anytime soon. There had been some higher probabilities that by the end of this year we might have been looking for a rate hike, and now I think that's pretty much settled. No rate hikes coming, but it did kind of confirm to an extent we're probably not going to have any cuts as well. Status quo, everything going normally, which is fine because we've seen that the market can actually move up quite a bit when we have the status quo and not much has been changing. We'll see if there's changes down the road to the Fed policy because we know they're kind of doing this self-evaluation, if you will. And then once they figure out how good they're doing, they kind of have all these notes and these documents they're going to review and stuff like that. They're going to start making changes once they find out all the problems they think they have. And there's plenty, believe me, right? Now, following that, we had the very bad news this week. And the very bad news this week, I have to say, guys, was a lot of hullabaloo about the Iran war. That has officially kicked back off. It doesn't seem to be as disastrous, but the Strait of Hormuz is closed again, which means oil prices are going to go up, which means people are going to have less money to spend in their pockets because they are going to be spending on gas, and inflation is probably going to go up because the cost to transport goods is also going to be going up here. So not the best news there. And I want to say that had a greater impact on the inflation data because unfortunately, you know, as prices go up quite fast going into election, there's just going to be a lot of hesitation, a lot of confusion around prices. And usually if companies can get away with raising prices and using a scapegoat, even like, let's say oil prices mean that they're going to take an extra 1 to 2% hit on the price, you know, of making their goods or shipping their goods. Well, they may raise the price of the good by 5-6% and say, oh man, it was just the war. They're going to be making more profit. You're going to be spending more. The government's going to look worse for it because of the war itself. And then nobody's happy except for the business and the shareholder itself. But again, that also impacts interest rates, which means it's going to be a little bit more difficult for those companies itself to have great trajectories with their stocks, if you will. Okay, so now what I want to do is really focus on some of the stocks, and not even some of the stocks, just some of the indexes and Bitcoin, and kind of see what's been happening because it has been a little bit more confusing. All right, right here we have Bitcoin, then the Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq over here, then the S&P 500. I know it's hard to see, so we're going to go one by one, starting with Bitcoin because Bitcoin's its own little beast here. So this is going to be a weekly chart for Bitcoin. Over the last few weeks, you guys can see that Bitcoin's actually been climbing up a little bit. And what I want to do, because I just opened this up, is I want to have this text go up to, let's say, 32, so you guys can see what's going on. Apply it all, and you can see we've been looking to bounce. Bitcoin right now actually has some momentum. We're going from bearish to bullish. Not everything is on all cylinders here, but typically when we do have a crossover between the RSI and the stochastic, where we have, you know, a bullish crossover, I guess is just the easiest way to say it, it's usually a good opportunity to buy. The last time we had it way back over here, a few weeks of good momentum. We had it back over here, not so much, but that's because we did tariffs over Greenland. Yeah, so let's hope there's no news like that. And of course, the war doesn't seem to have an impact on Bitcoin right now, but let's wait and see. Back over here, great opportunity. Back over here, a great opportunity. So normally, more times than not, when we're having a bearish time, then we go into a bullish crossover, people want to buy. So right now what I've done is I bought a little bit of Bitcoin here, really just some small 5x 10x leverage positions. I've also done the same thing for Ethereum and the same thing for Solana, and I'm basically looking for those next levels of resistance. Bitcoin, that's basically the 20-week moving average. If you go across to other things like Ethereum like this, we're already at that level, so expect a little bit more of a pop, which makes sense because altcoins pop a little bit more than Bitcoin does, of course. Solana here, not nearly as bullish, but it's already had its crossover, but Bitcoin hasn't had it, so this is kind of a more risky play, but I'm thinking, you know, Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. That's the kind of way I'm thinking about it. And for day trading, I'll be doing the more speculative plays out there, like an XRP may have a big boom, an ADA, things that have liquidity, but things that you know and you probably traded before. So just keep an eye on it. Now, after that, we have to go to the Dow Jones. S&P and Nasdaq are usually pretty similar right now because of all the tech plays in it and how much market cap those plays have, especially with AI software, yada, yada, yada. But for the Dow Jones specifically right now, take a look. You know, we're cruising. We're seeing a little bit of bearishness showing up just a tad when it comes to the stochastic and the RSI both going bearish. Not nearly as easy to figure out which way it's going like Bitcoin is from the oscillators and whatnot. But if we just get rid of the oscillators here, you can see we're having a pullback. Most of the pullbacks that we have statistically are going to be great opportunities to buy. We don't really have big pullbacks too often. This was one we had when the Iran war started. This was back over here last year, 2025. So this was a long time ago, right? And again, the war is starting again. People are a little bit more concerned and you're seeing a little bit more of a pullback. If you guys like to trade for the longer term, this is going to be one of those opportunities for you guys to start finding plays to buy, like your typical standard like Apple Play, stuff like that for buying. Now, Apple's not in the Dow, I know, but that's those heavy hitters like Caterpillar and stuff like that. That's S&P, but you guys get what I'm saying. Now, as far as I'm concerned right here with the Dow Jones and some of the stuff I'm looking at buying here, we still have a while to go before we even hit our first Fibonacci level, which is also going to be looking at an old level of support and an old level of resistance as well. So I'm not really looking to do too much here except for take the next couple weeks and try to figure out what's worth buying. If you go over here to the daily chart very fast, you are going to see some consolidation. We are making some lower highs right now and we are making some lower lows. We're in a nice casual downtrend, but we have a lot of momentum still pointing up. The 20 is still going up, the 50 is still going up, and the 200 is still going up. There's not so much pain in the wilderness right now where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm selling everything, or oh my gosh, I think we're going to drop until about 47,800 before I look to buy. Nothing like that. What I think may happen is we may have a few bad days like we did back over here mid-June, and then from there probably have a good opportunity to buy. If you guys recall this one when we talked about it, I think this was more of a members video, but you can see if you bought around that first opportunity, you were actually good. The interesting thing with this is when we talked about this, we had plans to buy here or anywhere in this range if things got nasty, but that was our first buy because we're thinking longer term, and longer term, of course, you can see from here on that day, it took about 6 days for it to get back up to these highs. We were expecting maybe 2 weeks, but it happened very, very fast, which is good for us, of course. But that was your easy in and out profit. And if I were to draw this back here very fast, just to back to where we were, that was 3%. It's nothing life-changing, but if you guys are trading options or something like that, you're usually pretty happy. If you waited for about a month, you're up around 6%, which is also very good. And of course, it might have hit a trailing stop loss a couple days ago, back July 8th, if you were kind of moving that up bit by bit and scaling out as you needed to. So great opportunity, still a little bit more room to fall, but it is something I'm looking at right now as far as, hey, just have a plan, nothing too crazy there. Now the NASDAQ, a little bit more funky, and let's not even talk about oscillators right now. Similar type of pattern to what we just talked about with the Dow Jones, similar type of pattern. The monthly chart seeing a little bit more of a pullback. Usually these monthly pullbacks don't last for too long. We're on month 2 of it. This one lasted a couple months, 1 month over there as far as consolidation is going, a couple months here, a few months there. That's 2022. That was interest rates getting hiked. That was a crazy thing. Usually a couple months at a time, maybe 3 months at the most. We typically don't see the NASDAQ drop too much. So because we're in month 2, I'm going to be looking for some opportunities to buy, and you're seeing, just like everything else, the oscillators here have been bearish for a while, or they are turning bearish right now. So by that, I mean the MACD is turning bearish right now. By the end of this week, we're probably all going to be bearish, but you can see bearishness doesn't always mean we crash and burn. It can mean a gradual drop, and then of course, we can have a nice pop afterwards. But what you're looking at right now is some bearishness right there. The RSI is now bearish. This is going to be where I'm looking for loading up, just like the Dow Jones, for some opportunities to play around with. And I'll pull up a Finviz sheet to kind of show you guys what I'm looking at right now, because there is a lot of good stuff. Despite how this is kind of in a consolidation mode, there's still a lot of opportunities here for you guys to buy and make some money. But when you guys are looking at stuff like this, as far as the major indexes, please understand that even though the NASDAQ is only down a few percent here, there are a lot of stocks within the NASDAQ that are down 5, 6, 7%. Those are the things I'm typically going to be targeting here. And when I make the members video for you guys tomorrow, you guys will see kind of what I'm talking about. But bearishness ahead, everybody's going to be readapting, or just let's say adapting to the realities of the war and what's that going to do to inflation and kind of the economic prospects of certain companies and things like that, and how we are going to deal with that, or how corporations are going to really deal with that. So this one's actually a little bit more fun as far as I'm concerned, because the volatility here is just always better. So you can see right here, another opportunity to buy right there. And of course, when up higher, you could always try to go to different levels and stuff like that, but that's clearly the easiest trough and peak that we can find. Now reversing that a little bit to the next trough and peak, we can see, there we go, we're breaking down right now, which to me is good. right? Because I want to see us come back down here towards 27,460. I'm not buying right now. Go over here to the daily chart. You can see we didn't even manage to hold, and that's now turning into a level of resistance. Go over here to the 15-minute chart. Level of resistance managed to break out, but we couldn't close above it by the end of the day, which is fine by me. The one thing that can get us back above this is, of course, some great news, but I'm not anticipating that right now. So what I'm looking to do is see what happens if we start to break down below the 20-week moving average. I'm looking to buy below the halfway point of this level right here. Okay, anywhere down here as well. I'm going to be buying up different stocks during that time when the NASDAQ is lower and waiting for the reversal that'll come up, because it will probably lead to a little bit more of a longer consolidation until the war is finished. And then, of course, we're going to start spiking and going back higher. The war is not good for business. Let's not pretend that it is. There's other means of why we don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons, all that type of stuff. Fun. But as far as trading is concerned, it's going to take a little bit of time for us to have some really nice breakouts as far as the major indexes. Now, moving out of this and going over here to the SPY before we start going over some specific stocks I want you guys to keep an eye out for. The SPY is going to be pretty darn similar to the NASDAQ, and I know I said this a while ago, so we're not going to go through all of the breakdowns and stuff like that, but the same pattern exists with a slight variation. When you do add the Fibonacci level on here, we actually haven't even hit the red line yet, or the 0.236 level, okay? This, I think, will be a little bit more of a drastic move. I do think it'll come down quite fast, a little bit more aggressively than the NASDAQ. And by that, I mean, I think it's going to play catch up from a technical perspective, because people are going to see, oh yeah, the NASDAQ is oversold. I should sell some of my stuff that I have profits on with the SPY and move it over there, or some variation of that, okay? But getting out of that very fast, you can see the momentum is bearish across the board here. A little bit more consolidation, you can see with the stochastic choppiness perhaps, but everything is still pointing towards a more bearish time. Don't forget that the monthly is still looking just fine here. So again, we don't really typically have those dips for too long. So when we have a really bad month, that's typically when you want to see people buying it. In the moment, it feels terrible because you're going day by day within 2 months, which is 60 days. I get it. But during that time, it's not horrible. And you can see how we have had some drastic drops. Opportunities like that, I'm always willing to take a little bit, but I'm going to wait for something a little bit more dramatic before making those larger investments, especially if I want to do options that are about 3 to 4 weeks out and I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to be fine. That's the type of stuff I'm looking at. Now, one little thing here, and this is where I got to pull up my other account from Finviz. There's around 30 stocks right now that I like that are around all-time highs. These are the weekly charts for these. So every chart, every candle is a week, okay? Here are the monthly candles for all of these. You can see how drastic some of these things have been. We have things like BTSG. Members, we've been talking about that for a few months. Ever since we bought, it's been going and going and going. Fantastic. Things like ABBV, it's making a break back out, which is very, very good. ARMK right here, specialty business services. I haven't gotten involved with this one just because I don't really like it as much, but you can see, despite me not liking it, that it hasn't stopped it from going up. Bowen over here is a little too new. It's in a recent IPO. Keep looking, look at it if you want to. Burl right here, this is Burlington. I don't like retail myself. I don't really want to do it, especially with tariffs and stuff. Corpay Software, this is software. Software has been having a resurgence. The market cap is only 24 billion. It is not a lot. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a longer YOLO, hoping that they will have a split sometime because the price is getting up there. You can see though with software, according to AI, you can see some big drops within 2 months period of times. I will buy those drops instead of buying right now. Okay. CrowdStrike making a resurgence. I missed out on this one. It's in my retirement account, but as far as like an actual play, no, I missed on that one entirely. Oil and gas, sticking away from it because of the war. If you guys want to make a pure oil play because of the lack of oil traveling through the Strait of Hormuz, go for it. Esther right here, medical lab devices at all-time highs, basically at a big level of resistance. I might wait for this to break out before making the move. The market cap is only 2.72 billion. This is actually something for a longer term play. It's only starting to get real traction right now. So please understand that it's gone up this high before and it's definitely crashed. Higher risk play, but what they're doing is actually interesting now because of AI. Only because of AI, I would say. Okay, now, First Financial Bancorp. This is something that seems to be doing well because the lack of rate cuts coming along here. This thing is starting to make a move. Smaller bank, but the government is trying to empower smaller banks in order to get them some extra capital after the debacle that was the, what do you want to call it? The Jerome Powell bank policy that led, interest rate rises and a bunch of regional banks closing down. What's left is trying to be propped up by the government, and an easy way to do that is to help them out by giving them access to more money and more accounts, which is part of the Trump account playbook. this is something for a longer term play. Keep an eye out for it. It's moving slowly. It's not going to be a heavy hitter. It's not going to be a tech play. But if you want something just for diversification, it's something that I'm looking into right now. I've only done an initial buy-in, and again, I bought it at not the greatest time. So at this point, I'm just letting it sit, not adding too much in more right now, but it's on one of my watch list here, just in case you guys want to see what I'm actually looking at right now. First, Industrial Realties Trust right here. This is an AI play, as weird as it sounds. All of this new industry coming for AI. I think it's a good play for a long-term hold. It just broke out to all-time highs in the past month. If I go over here to on the daily chart though, if you look at this one, it had a little bit of consolidation today because the market overall wasn't that good, but it broke out a while ago. This is something, wait for the consolidation, wait for the breakout, you'll be fine. You can see how beautiful of a breakout that was. And over here at Halo, consolidation, downward trend here. This is biotech. I don't play with biotech, so not my cup of tea, but it is close to all-time highs. And so for that reason, if you guys are looking for something that has some momentum behind it, you want to do a little bit of a deeper research, that could definitely be the play to go for. Yeah. There we go. And then a little bit more here. JHBT, that's Integrated Freight and Logistics, just an AI play. Keep an eye out for it. It's trying to break out right now. In fact, it did break out. It's retesting support, and that could possibly have a larger move. This is one of my top plays for Monday, and I'll keep you guys updated on this one. Everything else here, bit by bit. You know, there's Lilly and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not really doing drugs or that much healthcare stuff besides plain healthcare, I guess I should say. Oil sticking away from. Cloudflare, software could be still just weirding me out. Medical care facilities, that's fine. This one had a breakout, retested support, and looking to go even higher. Keep an eye out for that one. Only $7 billion market cap, and that's Pax Group. But there's lots of plays out here. Oil and gas, of course, and biotech. Both things I'm not really touching too much. But keep an eye out for some of these plays. I think they're going to do some good for you guys, all right? Thanks for watching, everybody, and hope you guys all have a great rest of your day.